Looking forward to that. And we're going to debut a new segment today. Like we said in the last segment, today is the first edition of Win Total Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we're going to discuss some win totals to catch our attention, whether that be in college or in the NFL. But today, we are going to focus on college football because DraftKings recently released its win total predictions for all 131 FBS teams ahead of 2022. LSU over under 7 wins. Most people think that's a little low, but we'll see what happens. Looking around the conference, Alabama, Georgia, both projected for the most wins at over 10.5, and Vanderbilt at over under 2.5 is projected to win the least games in the SEC. So you got a lot of interesting totals up and down the board here, Musso. Some win totals available before in other books that we kind of talked about a little while ago, but it really does feel like we're a lot closer to football season.
Vanderbilt at 2.5 is interesting. We've seen that as low as 1.
I know.
Vanderbilt might not win a game this year.
Not only did we see it, but I put down the futures bet for over 1.5 for Vanderbilt. So props to me.
Easy, man. Easy.
See if Clark Lee can't figure some stuff out here in year 2.
Maybe. No, it's great to get this close. Get close to football season. I mean, look, you're in summer workouts right now. I mean, middle of July, you've got SEC media days, and 2 weeks after that, LSU will report to camp. So. It is closer than you might think. You look at the NFL, I mean, mandatory mini camps next week. So it is closer than you might think. You look at LSU at 7. I mean, if you want to start there, I know we'll expand a little bit out to around the country. But LSU at 7, it's interesting. I mean, looking at their schedule, you'll probably win your 4 non-conference games, so you just need 3 more. Most of their tough games, I guess you could argue, are at home. I mean, you get Bama at home. You will have to go to College Station this year, which could end up being a tough one. You have to go to the Swamp, but I mean, so you got Alabama at home, Tennessee, which I think will be much improved. We've actually talked a lot about Tennessee on this show. You get that game at home. So, I mean, there is a way to figure it out. And Mississippi State will come at home, and that's a game at home you should probably win more often than not. Ole Miss, who should be formidable this year, will come to Tiger Stadium. So, a lot of their tough games are at home. Win your 4 non-conference, and I could see it, but there are question marks. I mean, what will the offensive line look like here? They weren't very good last year, and you lost a good bit of the guys that you had up front there. Who's going to play quarterback for LSU as well? And there's some question marks defensively in the secondary. So I can understand, and not only that, hey, new regime, right, in place in Baton Rouge. So I can understand some of the skepticism from Vegas.
And I'm not chalking up Florida State as an automatic win. I'm sorry. After what we saw at UCLA last year, I know that they're not projected to do very good this year either, but they at least have a little bit of continuity over there. And I'm interested to see how they fare against LSU, who is transitioning, like you said. And I just don't know if that is an automatic win. So I would measure that when I'm talking about LSU's win total.
It's not an automatic win, but I think you do have to look at it in this lens where, first of all, it's going to be in New Orleans. It's basically going to be a home game for LSU. You're not having to go all the way out to Los Angeles. Okay, that does matter. There was also a hurricane that displaced the team right before that happened. You had to go out there as well. I think we all have a little bit more confidence in this coaching staff than the previous coaching staff at LSU. And in that same vein, Brian Kelly prepared and played against this Florida State team to open Notre Dame's season last year. So there is familiarity. I'm not saying it's an automatic victory, but I think just off of those parameters, not involving the actual football on the field, LSU's probably already set up for a little bit better success than you would have been going out to LA last year to face UCLA.
We'll see. We'll debate that going forward because, like you said, still some holes. We still don't even know who's playing quarterback yet. Still a lot of unanswered questions. I do think Brian Kelly will ultimately have more success and be more organized, but he just had to put together this roster. So I just don't know if he's going to be that good enough to beat Florida State right off the bat.
And in that same vein, the starting quarterback against Florida State might not be the starting quarterback when you get to Alabama in November, potentially. I mean, who knows? I mean, it seems like it is that close between Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels, and even there's some talk about Garrett Nussmeier in there a little bit as well from some.
A lot of talk around Garrett Nussmeier. Very excited for LSU FSU 88 days from now. We'll talk about that game more in the next couple of weeks, but for our first iteration of Win Total Wednesday today, I want to look at the USC Trojans because their win total is set at 9.5 wins, over, under, and they had a really good offseason, objectively. I will admit that hiring Lincoln Riley was a good move. They got Caleb Williams to follow him. Jordan Addison, the star receiver from Pittsburgh, comes over. And they also added Brendan Rice, the son of Jerry Rice from Colorado, I didn't know that until today.
The genes.
Very good genes. Just 300 yards for Colorado last year, but Lincoln Riley thinks he could feature him a little bit more, and he could be good on offense for USC. And on defense, they tried to address some holes in the transfer portal. Got a couple of guys from the SEC. Linebacker Shane Lee comes over from Alabama. Romello Height comes over from Auburn. Corey Foreman, defensive end, had a lot of hype going into his freshman season. Played in 11 games, didn't have that much of an impact, but they're expecting better things out of him in year 2. And I think ultimately, Musso, USC is going to be better than they've been. Lincoln Riley, off of his work with quarterbacks alone, I think will get that program to a place that they have not been in a while. And you will see improvement. But to already assume that USC is going to go for 9 wins here, I think is a little bit premature. They finished 4th in their division last year. They still have some holes on defense that they need to address with Lincoln Riley and DC Alex Grinch, who followed him from Oklahoma. And I'm probably going to go under on USC's win total.
All right, so it's interesting, right? Because the Pac-12 is not that strong of a league. Looking at their schedule, they open up against Rice. That's a victory, right? Okay, they'll win that.
Don't lose to food, yeah.
Don't lose to food, exactly. They go to Stanford next, and Stanford is not the Stanford that they once were.
No, but Stanford is known to pull some screwy upsets, especially against USC, and that game is at home.
Yeah, it is. It's in Stanford. It's the second week of the season.
Lincoln Riley's first away game.
Second week of the season. I can understand some optimism, but some iffy feelings there. I would probably give USC a win in that game, though.
Yeah.
They should beat Fresno State the week after that. The Bulldogs lost their starting quarterback and their running back, who were the bulk of that offense that was so good last year. Oregon State on the road. Oregon State's not a good football program. Let's be honest. They're at best like normally a 6-win team, and sometimes it's worse than that.
Baseball team's nice though.
The baseball team's pretty good. They 3-time national champions. They can get it done. Arizona State, Herm Edwards. Well, they just lost their starting quarterback to LSU. I mean, don't be coming in here with them Devils, as Herm would like to say. That's an interesting game because Arizona State is normally a scrappy club. Washington State is not the same Washington State they were. The toughest game on their schedule is Utah, and it's on the road at Rice-Eccles, and that is going to be a really tough out for SC in the middle of October. But, I mean, they should beat Arizona up and down the field. They should beat Cal. They should beat Colorado. It comes down to UCLA rivalry game. Anything can happen. Notre Dame will be tough. Notre Dame and Utah are the toughest games on the schedule. You win all the other ones, you're at 10 wins. I mean, I can see a path for it.
Yeah, but it doesn't always go that smoothly.
It doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
And maybe USC still gets there, but even if they do, it will likely not be that way. Like, they might lose some games that they're not supposed to lose.
And have to win another one along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even if you're just going by their schedule, 4th in their division last year, and Arizona State, whose win total is 6.5, UCLA 8.5, and Utah, who's at 9, I don't think they should be below USC, all finished ahead of them. I would think they eventually surpass those teams, but I just do not think all of those are easy wins in game 1. They're going to have to go out and earn every single one of those. And again, the road game at Stanford, you never know. Some screwy stuff happens. They had a big upset this past season as well. So first away game for Lincoln Riley, you never know.
This is what I will say after going through the schedule and whatnot. And you look at their offense is going to be great. They will score a lot of points on a lot of different teams. Defense, right? Obviously, with Lincoln Riley, that's always the narrative anyway, and he brings Alex Grinch. And Oklahoma's defense did improve under Alex Grinch. They were not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but they did improve after previous years under former coordinators with Lincoln Riley. But you see the way they supplemented that defense through the transfer portal at USC. That tells you they had holes there. They brought in guys to fill those holes. Can they actually do it? That's going to be a huge question mark around there. I think the number's really good that Vegas put on this, because right now, if I had to pick USC to win total games, it'd probably be 9. I'd probably have them going 9-3, which would be under that total, but not by much. I could really see it go either way. I think they pegged the number really right on. When you look at schedule, you look at the instant impact that USC will have on offense under Lincoln Riley in a weak Pac-12, 9 seems right. So 9.5 is a really good number by Vegas.